I'm back, and I'm about to explore what little of Route 46 I can currently go to, and you could almost see the entire thing on the screen there. For those of you who are trying to play along on an emulator, or simply trying to play the game on an emulator at all, you might encounter a few problems, because Game Freak implemented several anti-piracy measures in order to prevent you from doing so. Now, obviously, as I said before, I'm not giving out links to ROMs or emulators, because I don't want to end up in jail. Besides, you can just use Google if you really need to. But I think there's no harm in me telling you how to make the thing work. I made a video a while ago that explained how to make it work. I'm gonna put a link to that movie in the movie description. There's an action replay code that you're going to need in order to have the screen not be all black as soon as Professor Oak's speak at the beginning ends. And there's also a patch that you need to apply on the ROM so that the game doesn't crash after a while of playing. Now, I didn't mention that explicitly in the video, but in the movie description of that video, I give out the link to a forum thread that links to that patch as well as other patches for games with similar anti-piracy measures. And that's awesome! Chikorita learned Razor Leaf already, and it's only level 6 now. Just give me a second, I'm gonna reorganize my moves here, put Razor Leaf at the top, because I feel like This is usually how I organize my moves anyway. But yeah, it learns Razor Leaf at level 6 now. It used to be level 8 in Gold, Silver, Crystal, but now it's level 6, so that's pretty cool, especially since, Razor Leaf is obtained a lot earlier than, for example, when Cyndaquil learns Ember, or Totodile learns Water Gun, for example. And what you see out there, those trees, there used to be berries in those trees in Gold, Silver, Crystal, but the berries work very differently in this game now. I'll explain it as we get to it, but for now you can find apricorns there. Apricorns are what is used to make custom Pokeballs at Azalea Town, but we're not going to be able to do anything with those for a while. Nonetheless, there's an apricorn you can collect from these trees every day, and once you get to Azalea Town, you can use those apricorns to make those special kinds of Pokeball. But, unfortunately, we can't take the apricorns right now because we need an apricorn box from a fellow on Route 30 on the way to Mr. Pokemon's house. So, yeah, we had to leave the apricorn there instead of, just putting it in our bag like that. I mean, we're talking about a bag that can contain a practically infinite quantity of matter anyway. So, why do I need an apricorn box when it's just one apricorn, and it doesn't look like there's anything down there? And oh well, at least I got into a random encounter. Any experience is good experience at this point, especially since there's going to be a rival fight coming up relatively soon. By the way, the reason why I'm using Razor Leaf against a Pidgey, even though it's not very effective, is because even when it's not very effective, stabbed Razor Leaf is stronger than Tackle, since, those were the days when Tackle only had 35 power. And if you're wondering why I'm saying that, yes, Tackle has more power now. In Black and White, it has 50. Accuracy was increased to 100 as well. Just wondering, how many of you didn't even know Tackle was improved in Black and White until I just told you, just for fun, because it might actually be more people than I expect. Anyway, we made it to Cherrygrove City, and this guy here is the mandatory I'll show you around town guy, the one who always shows us the Pokemon Center, the Pokemart, and stuff like that. And, whoa, okay, let me guess, $1 million fine if I'm late. No, okay, but, yeah, I'm not wearing the running shoes. He's the guy who's going to give them to me, if I remember correctly, else they wouldn't make such a big fuss about it. Especially with an old man running at 100 miles an hour. Anyway, Pokemon Center, we all know about that. And yeah, he said he was going to try to go a little slower, but either he completely failed or didn't really try at all. Anyway, Pokemart, you can buy a bunch of items there. The two buildings were merged in the Black and White, so this is the last game where they're in two different buildings. This is Route 30, which leads to Mr. Pokemon's house, and further up the road there's Violet City, and now he's showing us the sea for absolutely no reason. Maybe you can't hear it over my commentary, but as I said in the last video, you can actually hear the sound of the waves when you're close to water. And this is his house. Don't know why he mentions his house as a point of interest in Cherrygrove. Then again, there's so little here that I guess everything looks more interesting by default. Anyway, I just got the running shoes, and there are two ways to run in this game. You can just hold down the B button to run, or you can go click or, click. I say click, because I have a mouse, but this is running with by holding down the B button, and you can also click on this button there on the touch screen, and you're going to run by default. One thing they forgot to do, though, is that when the button is clicked and you're holding down B, I would have liked to be able to walk by holding down B. You know, just reverse the speed controls instead of just having me run all the time. But oh well, it doesn't really matter either way. So, anyway, now that the old man gave us his tour, we're gonna go check around town, see if I can get useful advice, rent material, or even better yet, items from people. If you're not familiar with my Pokemon LPs, this is what I usually do when I reach a new town. I automatically talk to everyone, and I strongly recommend that everyone does so when playing, well, I was about to say any Pokemon game, but any RPG goes as well. You can get some really cool advice and maybe even items if you talk to everyone. Because that's why they program NPCs in the games to begin with. Well, that and to make the world you're in seem more lively instead of being completely desolate. When I get older, I'm going to be a gym leader. Well, this is a definite step up from wanting to be a Pikachu when you grow up. And yeah, I'm sorry, I still can't get over the fact that some kids want to grow up to become Pikachus. Anyway, visit the Pokemon gyms. This is usually the main target of the Pokemon games. Visit the 8 gyms, get the 8 badges, defeat the Elite Four. Anyway, just gonna check the sign here. It's just the Welcome to Cherrygrove sign. Nothing special. So, now it's time to check out the first Pokemon in the game. Get poisoned by a bug type. We're gonna be fighting Weedles on the next route, which can poison us with Poison Sting. That's only in Soul Silver, by the way. In Hard Gold, you'll be fighting Caterpies, which deal more damage, except when you're using Chikorita, then Poison Sting is super effective and deals more damage than Tackle. You can only buy potions, antidotes, and paralysis heals, so really nothing too interesting. I could take antidotes in case I get poisoned by Weedles, but I prefer just heading back to the Pokemon Center. Anyway, the area in the basement is dedicated to Wi-Fi communications, so at this point of the game when you can't even catch your own Pokemon, it's obviously closed, but once we gain the ability to catch Pokemon, it's going to be open, and I'm going to cover that when I get there. So, I'm just going to heal my Chikorita, obviously, and whoa, flashback to Pokemon Yellow there. I guess that was sort of the intended purpose, where, you know, the Pokemon jumps on the desk and then it gets healed along with the rest of the team. Anyway, this woman here is for the Communication Club Coliseum. Obviously, it's closed because, as I said, we can't even catch Pokemon, so we can't interact with other players just yet. But that's another thing that I'm going to be covering once we get back to Cherrygrove after the opening part of the game. Anyway, she's going to tell us about our trainer card, proof of my status as a Pokemon trainer. You can see how much money you have, your name, the badges that you've earned. Yeah, if you touch the card, you can view the reverse side and sign using the touchscreen. Obviously, not going to try and do that because while it's possible with a stylus and a touchscreen, with a mouse, it's a hell of a lot more challenging. So no, I'm not even going to bother with that. It would just be a complete waste of time anyway. So I think we're done with Cherrygrove, so we're going to head up to Route 30, and okay, Oh yeah, I remember. That guy there, instead of giving you the running shoes and gold, silver, crystal, he gave you the map card for the Pokegear, but that's what he's gonna give us right now. I wonder why he didn't give us the map card back when he was showing me around town, but oh well. Doesn't really matter. I'm just going to show the map to you once he's done talking. You'll see that the map is a little different compared to the maps in previous games. Okay, map card. Yeah, it's a lot weirder looking, but I guess you can manage if you're used to the Johto layout already. So, this is Route 30. As I said, we're going to start encountering somewhat more dangerous Pokemon. It feels odd to talk about Weedle as being actually dangerous, given its god-awful stats, but it's the fact that it can hit me with super effective poison stings and potentially poison me. The poison is a threat to Cyndaquil and Totodile users as well, by the way, but with Chikorita it's sort of special because of the super effective damage. But it seems to be insistent on using String Shot to lower my speed. Again? You're already faster! Sheesh! Oh god, the AI, I swear. The AI was sort of pathetic in the Battle Zone in Platinum, but now it's just so freaking sad. You're already faster! Stop it! Well, actually, what am I saying? Don't stop it! I don't want to be hit with a Poison Sting and much rather be hit with String Shots all day. By the way, something I wanted to mention, which I was reminded of by re-rolling for Natures for my Chikorita, an improvement that they added in Hard Gold and Soul Silver, which carried over in Black and White as well, is that when you check your Pokemon's nature, it doesn't only tell you the name of the nature, but when you go over to look at the stats, it also tells you which stats are affected. The stat that's raised by 10% is in red, and the stat that's lowered by 10% is in blue, which is really convenient in case you don't want to learn the names of all the natures. Of course, if you're a competitive player, you're going to be learning them pretty fast anyway, especially the major ones like Adamant, Modest, Timid, Bold, Jolly, that kind of stuff. Neutral natures, you're not going to remember them quite as fast because they are never, ever recommended on anything. Even stuff that tends to use all their stats, usually when you got a mixed sweeper that needs some speed, as we see another apricorn tree, you're going to want to lower defenses instead. For example, when you want a mixed Electivire, you're going to be lowering one of your defenses. And this is the guy that I was talking about earlier on who gives you the Apricorn box. And yes, well, I was going to see Mr. Pokemon, but getting the Apricorn box is actually going to be sort of cool, even though I don't have plans on using those super special awesome balls that Kurt makes, because I still maintain what I said in Crystal. Most of them are very, very questionable. Decent Apricorn Collector. Yeah, only decent. Way to cheer me on there. Anyway, now that I have the Apricorn box, I can actually start molesting Apricorn trees. Hey, that's what it looked like! But anyway, I got a green Apricorn, and yeah, when I just said I had no plans on using Kurt's balls, there is probably going to be one exception. I'm going to take a look at that a little bit later on in the game. But if you remember, back in Crystal, I actually used heavy balls on Lugia. That's probably what I'm going to be doing again, since they're far more effective than even Dusk balls when it comes to super heavy Pokemon with very low catch rates. Well, only catch rates of 3, because otherwise Dusk balls are probably always the most effective balls regardless. Anyway, we're about to end another String Shot Fest here, and that's going to be all for this video. So next time on Pokemon Soul Silver, we're going to head off to Mr. Pokemon's house.